Morning, everyone. I think we'll get underway. I think the majority of people are in here now, so hoping you can all hear me okay out there. If you can't, just drop us a quick question and we'll see if we can get it sorted out for you. Colin will have a look at that. Firstly, guys, hey, look, thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. I know it's a rather stressful and uncertain time out there. We're halfway through. So we're getting there, and the signs are all good that we'll be out of this madness, hopefully back to some sort of normality in a couple of weeks, which I'm sure we're all looking forward to. Those with kids at home, no doubt more so than others. But on a plus side, hoping that what this lockdown has given us is the ability to sit back, take stock, do some planning, think about some new products and offerings. Something which I know, normal business day to day is very hard to look at new product offerings, especially something that's technology based like digital signages, and there's a lot to know and a lot to learn out there. So we're here to help you out on that journey. And hopefully today is the first step in, having a look at it a bit more and seeing where the opportunities lie with digital signage. I know it's all fairly new for the majority of us out there, but I've been doing it for a wee while now, and we've got Cohen on board as well. So whatever we can do to help you guys out in terms of doing presentations, knowledge, sharing information, whatever we can do, please reach out to myself or Cohen and just let us know. For those that I haven't had a chance to meet or talk with, I've been at Computaleta now for just under a year. My name's Dave Watts, and I'm the business manager at Computaleta for our display solutions division. I've been in the digital signage industry now for over 12 years, so a decent amount of time. And through that time, obviously seen some fairly significant changes. And prior to Computaleta was setting up and running Samsung's digital signage division as well. So the changes that I've seen over 12 years and coming back from the biggest trade show, ISC in Amsterdam for digital signage, pretty excited to see some of the products and some of the solutions that are going to be available to watch this space. We've got some cool new things due to land and to be able to offer out to you guys in the not too distant future. We've also got Cohen online with us today. Now, Cohen, some of you might have dealt with before. He's been with Computaleta now for 3 years, and he's our pre-sales and post-sales technical engineer. So he's been there for 3 years. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's done, a lot of study towards software engineering and web design and coding. So he's a great man to have behind the scenes to help us do some of these bespoke projects. So he's a great asset for us to have there and for you guys to fully utilise as well. So anything of the technical nature, reach out and Cohen will be able to help you out. Thought we'd start off today by just doing a bit of a quick overview of the digital signage market. Touch on some of the benefits of digital signage and some of the exciting trends and opportunities that are currently out there. And then I'll pass over to Cohen, who will take us through a top-level overview of the actual back end, how we actually upload, create, schedule, manage devices, and display content. So starting off with a bit of a market overview. Now, the digital signage market, as you can see there, was worth an estimated $20.8 billion last year. Now, this number is purely digital signage, so there's no Pro AV, so it doesn't include any video conferencing, live events, no switching, networking, no control systems or anything like that. That is basically made up of hardware and software. So, a hardware and software market at around 20.8 billion is not a small market by any stretch of the imagination. With the projected growth, looking there at 30 billion by 2024 and 32 billion by 2026. So some good numbers there, and one I'm sure we all want to get a slice of that pie. And to be fair, again, after seeing some of the products that are coming out and going to be available soon, I'm not surprised by the sort of growth that they're expecting in this business. And last but not least, the even better news is that obviously Asia Pacific is expected to have the highest demand and growth rate globally. So it's taken us a while to get there, but you know, New Zealand's about to go through some huge growth in digital signage, and if nothing else, this pandemic is going to, you know, show the importance of being able to share information and updated information in a timely manner as well. So it's all good signs for digital signage, and look, it's a great market to be getting into and be able to offer this out to your customer bases as well. You can see there in the map, it's just a geographical form of what I've sort of just mentioned as to where the high, mid and low growth rates are going to be and where they're predicting. It's nice to see that New Zealand's actually made a map for once. We normally get left off these things, but you can see they've added us on, so they are expecting us to have some great business there. Now you'll see on the left-hand side there, got a list of verticals. Good news with digital signage is there's not actually too many verticals out there in the market that won't benefit from using digital signage. And the majority of these ones on the left here, we're currently working with our resellers and opportunities in just about each and every one of those. So I guess it means that it doesn't matter where your business is or what areas that you're focusing on, right across the market with the solutions that are out there now, there aren't too many verticals and markets that won't benefit from digital signage. And once you start thinking about digital signage, it drives you mad, and you start noticing where digital signage should be. I know my partner gets frustrated when I'm pointing out where everything should be digital or not. So, but it's a good way to look at it and start thinking about, you know, where we could potentially be looking to install digital signage and where people would benefit from having digital signage over some of the traditional stuff. Now, the two vertical markets that I obviously see a lot of immediate opportunities in are the top two there, the retail and the healthcare sectors. And we'll touch on those a little bit further as we go along. Brings us to what are some of the benefits of digital signage? It's a question I get asked all the time. And normally, one of the first things that people say is, hey, look, it's a big investment. You know, I think I'll just stick with what we're doing, or I can't really afford to outlay that original investment. And hey, look, it's a matter of then being able to come back with that and say, well, yes, it is a big investment, but it's a worthwhile one, and it's one that'll pay dividends. You can see there, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory there. You know, digital displays capture up to 400% more views. You know, that alone, being able to have that many more views, that many more eyes on the messaging that we're trying to portray is worth huge amounts of value. Increasing your brand awareness by up to 31%, increasing engagement, and that's what a lot of businesses want. They want to be able to engage with their customers. And digital signage allows that, and, you know, and looking at an increase of up to 70%, that's huge. Foot traffic, obviously more and more people, you know, in the brick and mortar are struggling with the online. So, you know, to be able to increase, you know, foot traffic into retail stores and the likes, by 24% again, you know, getting people in the door, you know, it gives you an opportunity to then, you know, get them onto your brand, and more importantly, you know, sell your product or your solution or your offering to those additional people that are coming through, and a sales increase, you know, as high as 30%. So, you know, when you look at it like that, you know, just those 5 benefits alone, when they're broken down, depending on where they're going, you know, add some huge benefits into digital signage. I did some work with McDonald's a wee while back. We were initially looking at their menu boards. Now, they were pretty much convinced on the menu boards purely on the fact that they didn't have to roll the screens over from breakfast to lunch, and if they were going to introduce some new food, it was easy enough to do without having to reprint the whole light boxes and everything like that. Now, we sort of sat down with them and said, look, that's great, but there's actually a lot more that we can do with digital and the benefits of it. And I said to them, look, well, let's test it. Let's put a screen in there and let's run a proof of concept. Now, where we put the screen, we put it in a place where, you know, everyone that was queuing up to order their food could see it. There wasn't kiosks back in this day. And all we did is we put an advertisement on it, you know, advertising, add bacon to any burger for $1. Now, it was some nice content that we had listed there. It was the only place where they advertised extra bacon for $1. And we ran it for 2 weeks. Now, after 2 weeks, they'd sold over $2,000 worth of bacon just from that one screen alone. And that was all they needed to see to understand the benefit of digital signage. And it ties back to, getting more views, people taking the message in, people making the buying decision by the time they got up the front. Now, McDonald's wasn't relying on their staff with a reasonably high turnover to then offer the upsell. It's something that they pride themselves on, but it's something that doesn't happen all the time. So by using digital, they could make sure that the message was getting across to their customers in a way that the buying decision was made by the time they got up there. So they paid for that screen in 2 weeks, and the rest was history. We all know how that sort of is panning out now for McDonald's. If we break it down even further, and if we have a look, if we were to pick a cafe, for example, or somewhere like McDonald's, we'd be looking at roughly, $3,500 for a screen, the software, a bracket. Now, yes, there is an upfront cost, coming back to the first question that people ask. But if we were to break that down, the Samsung screens all have a 3-year warranty on them. So if we were to look at that total cost of ownership over 3 years and break that cost down, it works out to be roughly $100 a month for that screen. Now, when you again look at those 5 benefits there of it, that $100 a month now turns into quite a viable and a great solution for people to be looking at implementing it. So it's important to have a look and say, yes, there is an upfront cost, but if we look over the lifespan, the total cost of ownership is down basically to a couple of posters a month, but it gives you a lot more benefits in terms of how you can manage it and the messaging and everything else that you can put across. Some other numbers, just while we're on the subject, obviously the top line there, retail is the fastest growing area for digital signage networks globally. I think we can all agree. I mean, if you've been overseas at any time recently, obviously not the last 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see how much digital signage, it's everywhere over there. And there's not many retailers that don't have it. Compared to back here, there's a lot of opportunity for us, as I touched on at the start, to implement digital signage into the retail network. And that's a vertical that a lot of you guys are already currently in and have the relationships in there with people as well. So a lot of low-hanging fruit in that sort of retail section. Next one down there, 40% of shoppers say that digital signage change what they buy. Sort of comes back to that McDonald's example that I just used. And I'm sure we've all been there where, you think you've got it, and then you see something on the screen, you're like, actually, that actually looks quite good. I'll grab that. And that's the power of digital signage and being able to, have that dynamic content on the screen to get the buy-in from people and to push products. Customers that engage with companies through multiple channels. So, social media is obviously a big one for branding and where a lot of people are, doing a lot of promotions these days. And if you add digital onto that, 3 times the volume of sales. So it speaks for itself. If you can increase sales by that much, and digital plays a part in that, well, it's a no-brainer, really. Digital signage has a recall rate of 83%. Now, what's the point in doing advertising and messaging if people can't recall what it is that they've even seen? So that's a fairly large number. And now that you start thinking about it, I'm sure we've all been there, and we take a lot more notice of digital signage, and it captivates the audience than what we would if we were to walk past a poster full of text, for example. And we've got some great images to show you around that a bit later on. 60% of people will watch video over text. So again, the beauty of digital signage is you're not sort of tied into either only text or only video. You can use multiple videos, you can use text, you can use HTML on websites, you can use live news feeds, RSS feeds. It really gives you that option to create more dynamic content that people are going to take a lot more notice over than traditional static posters, for example. Healthcare, obviously quite a topical one at the moment, especially with the amount of information that we're all trying to take in and digest, and with it being such a fluid situation, it's changing very, very fast. So, the ability, one, to have people to recall that message, is important. and another one to be able to keep that messaging updated and relevant is obviously another one. So, healthcare is obviously big at the moment. I think, the Minister of Health, David Clark, may have been able to recall what the rules and the legislation was around the lockdown, rather than going mountain biking or for a tiki tour around the beach if they were using digital. So it just shows the benefits of it there. And lastly, still in that sort of healthcare sign, is using digital as a distraction tool, but it also reduces perceived wait time about to 35%. And I guess that's an important note to make, that in digital signage, we're not always using it to try and sell something. Well, that's what a large portion of people will use it for. It's also used for, branding, awareness, and then doctors and dentists and those sorts of things. It's just about making customers have a better experience in a place where none of us really like to go. Better than reading the magazines, the Women's Day from 10 years old and whatever else. It's an opportunity to display some infotainment, some health messaging, and help that wait time be a lot less. Going to quickly touch on a few trends. Now, there's obviously a few more, but these are the key ones that I see having a big impact in the digital signage industry. We've got artificial intelligence. It's quite a scary thing to think about, but in reality, it's not that scary anymore. Interactivity, data, and hardware. Now, we're going to start off on the artificial intelligence side of things. This is becoming more and more common. Well, it's not completely new in digital signage. We are going to start to see this being used in a lot more of a mainstream type of way. By implementing digital signage displays using artificial intelligence, retailers, for example, then have the ability to deliver targeted messages to specific customers in real time. We can manage queues, virtual queues, or waiting in line. It helps to drive brand awareness. It also encourages buyers to return and increases sales, which are two very important things, and brings a more personalised shopping experience to businesses and to retailers' customers. And there's nothing more important than being able to display the right content to the right person at the right time. In the past, we've had to sort of guess who's going to be there, or cater for a wider range of audience. Whereas with artificial intelligence, it allows us to be a lot more specific and generate a lot more data and actually know who's in front of these screens. You'll see there that 37% of shoppers, receiving personalised offers is the most valued aspect of retail shopping experiences. It's always nice to go out there and see something, and be able to find products and information that's tailored to you and more personalised to what you are looking for. And then 93% of consumers find user-generated content to be helpful. So it's a matter of, when people are going up to screens, it's then changing the content depending on who's in front of it, and it's specific to that user. Now, it might sound a bit scary, but people love personalised experiences, and it's what people are coming to expect more and more. And digital signage just makes that easy for retailers to be able to offer that out. Now, like I say, it's not exactly new. There was a study last year which came back that 29% of companies worldwide are already using artificial intelligence to help with their customer experiences, and another 46% see them using this technology in the future. So that's a big chunk of the market that are already thinking about this, wanting to know how to do it, and are looking to create a better customer experience for their customers. And like I say, to be able to offer that in store is what brings people back into the brick and mortar over online, to be able to have that more personalized type of experience. And I mean, it's similar to Facebook. You Google something, or I still swear they listen to us, but next thing you know, all those ads pop up, and in Facebook, that can be annoying. If you think about it down to the individual retailer, it can certainly make that shopping experience a lot easier if you can come into a big store and utilize artificial intelligence to then point you in the right direction, point out sales, promotions, and information that are specific to you rather than any person that's coming through the door and a lot more generic. Interactivity kind of ties in with artificial intelligence there as well. And back, early days of digital signage, basically all we were doing was poster replacements. And while that served a purpose then, technology and capabilities are so much more now that we can offer these things. And interactivity basically encourages customers to take part, gets them involved in the process. And it helps drive that brand awareness and gives people a good experience. We have a thing, a shopper's desire when we're out and about by ourselves. It's called empowered freedom. Weird term, but it's one of these new terms that's come in. But basically what that means is we like to go shopping and we like to be able to obtain all the information that we need without having to track down some staff member or wait till we get to the checkout to try and find the information out. And you'll see up there that 62% of shoppers prefer self-service and self-checkout than dealing with humans. As scary as that is, and that's probably before COVID when we're all craving a bit of human interaction now. But I mean, McDonald's is a good example of that. You go into McDonald's now and again, they've got the kiosk all out the front. 9 times out of 10, everyone wants to use the kiosks rather than actually going up to the front now to order their meals. It gives you that option to order what you want, customize what you want, without the pressures of a sales staff up there. It gives you more time to have a look, so people have a look at more products. McDonald's can offer promotions that they know that people are going to see, rather than again relying on staff at the front counter to discuss these products and these promotions to customers. So it's a good example of our desire to be able to go in and be self-sufficient in some of these places and do as much as we can using digital technology as possible. That ties into the 95% of consumers, we want to be left alone. We don't want to be hassled by staff and sales, people coming and pushing promotions and doing the hard sell. And, the same thing with high staff turnover and information and training. Using digital to be able to provide that information to people means that the right information is getting portrayed to the customers rather than relying on a staff member to be able to portray those same messages. There's also a thing, Internet of Things. If you've heard about that, it has a lot of sensors and technology. Basically, again, using retail as an example, what this allows you to do now in a retail environment, and we use a telco, for example, is they can have a screen where they're displaying phones, and as soon as someone picks up a phone, that screen will then display information relevant to that phone. Obviously, huge benefits in that. If you've ever been into a phone store, it's, there's long waits. Again, there's a reasonably high staff turnover in there, and it's an expensive bit of kit that people are normally buying. So we want to be able to have the information on hand that we can see and we can compare. So by using these sensors and the likes to be able to now interact with screens and find the information we want, it's really going to change the landscape of that retail scene. And along with this, it also obviously removes a lot of the frustrations that we have. Two of the main ones, like I've said, not being able to find the information or actually be able to find the product. So with this type of thing and wayfinding and everything like that we can run on screens, it really turns into a nice solution to be able to solve a lot of problems in the retail space, and more importantly, give customers a much better experience, and one that they're wanting when they come into a retail environment. Data. Now, this is a big one. We all know that data is important, more so today than ever. It's rated as the highest valuable commodity that there is out there at the moment. So by being able to, utilising the AI and the interactivity side of things, it allows businesses now to collect a large range of data, and more importantly, understand what consumers are responding to, and how that whole shopping experience is carried out. you know, from getting this back, you know, retailers and business owners now can see, you know, what people's reactions are, you know, how are they behaving about a product. You know, they can see how people are flowing through stores. You know, where are the hot spots? Where are people stopping? Where are people going through? You may have the best product, but it's in an area of the shop that doesn't get any foot traffic. You know, and using audience measurement and these sensors just allows that data to be relayed to a retailer or to anyone with a business and help them set that up. They can see, you know, are people looking at products? Is your advertising, you know, is your content working? How often are they reading your messaging? And then what are they doing after they have a look at it? Engage, you know, sort of what are your busiest times of the day? And more importantly, you know, what sort of people are in those, you know, shops at certain times of the day. And again, it allows us now to be a lot more specific. Rather than guesstimating who we think's in there and tailoring different content, we now know who's going to be in there. And while there's privacy issues around, you know, capturing personal information, you know, being able to just tell, you know, genders, age, and like I say, how often and how long people are looking at these screens is invaluable for businesses to be able to get that right messaging across. And that just is only going to increase, again, you know, customer experience and sales, which is really important. And it can also reduce, you know, the marketing efforts. Rather than having to go far and wide with different campaigns, we can now be a lot more tailored and run these campaigns when our target audience are standing in front of these screens. Hardware, the bigger the better. Does size really matter? But in terms of digital signage, yes, it does. Absolutely does. You know, and bigger isn't always better. And if you have a look now, you know, our range of Samsung screens is bigger than ever before. We start off with screens right down as small as 13-inch. And then we have the shelf pricing and screens. We've got the half-cut screens. And then we have individual screens that go right the way from 13-inch right up to 98-inch. And then we also have the video walls and LED modules, you know. So basically there's no limitation to where these screens are going. And depending on the user case and where these screens are going, you know, there's screens to suit. You obviously don't want to have too much, you know, personalized information on a 98-inch screen. But if it was on a 13-inch screen that people could go up to and find some information on, hey, look, that suits. So it really is, you know, horses for courses, and what the best thing is. And with Samsung now, you know, we literally do have a screen size that's made for every possible installation. Along with those screen sizes, we also have, you know, different ranges of solutions as well now. We have indoor screens, sorry, indoor screens, you know, standalone screens. We have in-window screens, which are designed to, you know, stand up to the heat and the glare and the brightness of the sun coming through windows. We have fully outdoor screens, which can be spray painted, which can be hit with a baseball bat and are weather resistant, you know, out of the box. So making those sorts of, you know, solutions and installations so much easier than ever before. We obviously have the LED modules, which, you know, as time goes on, they'll become more and more at a price point that, you know, makes these things more desirable. And we also have touchscreens as well. So, you know, through the range, we basically have a solution for any sort of you know, project that you guys are working on. And it's nice to be able to have the one brand that goes right the way through, one service, one brand, one number to remember. So it keeps things nice and tidy in there. Then we have something called a SoC. Now, I won't dive into it too much, but just top level, what SoC is that stands for System on a Chip. Now, this is something that Samsung developed themselves, their capabilities. And basically what that means is it's a built-in media player and a really grunty media player. So that's built into the screens now. So there's no longer any need for the majority of installations for additional hardware or media players, which obviously removes a lot of the cost and also complexity, simplifies the operation, and makes obviously the installation a lot easier as well. So basically now, like I said, For the majority of projects that we're working on, all we need on site is just the screen, a power cable, data if possible. It's always better to be hardwired in than using Wi-Fi, but the screens will have Wi-Fi built into them as well. So with the Samsung solution that we offer out there, you basically now just need a screen and a power cable, and the rest is all done remotely and inside the screen. So it makes it for a really nice solution, really cost effective, and a nice simple solution for you guys to be able to offer out to the market as well. And the cost savings, between using the Samsung onboard one compared to a media player can be anywhere from 10% to 40%. And well, on a one-off screen, it might not be big. But once you start rolling out, multiple screens across multiple locations, and you've got to install all these things, it certainly makes it a lot easier to have it all on one device. Bigger screens. So we're seeing a shift in the market, and 65 inch is now turning into the sweet spot. Obviously, pricing's come down a lot. Well, the capabilities have gone up, so it's a great time, and that's why we're seeing a shift to the bigger size in the market. And by next year, they're expecting that 65 inch and bigger will take over 50% of the market. So, in some cases, bigger is better, and it's nice to go where it is, and it's nice to be able to offer something, of a bigger size that's now at a price point where people can afford it, and it's becoming a realistic proposition for a lot of people. Same with UHD, so ultra high definition. So this is sort of looking up around the 4K and the 8K mark. We've sort of been focusing on this area. I think it's important to be able to have a solution that's future-proofed, and you'll see over on the right-hand side there that they are expecting the UHD panels to overtake the full HD. Now, there's not a lot of content that's been displayed in 4K or 8K yet. Tokyo Olympics actually was going to be the first one that was going to broadcast the whole thing in 8K, so it would have been reasonably impressive. But the beauty is, with the Samsung side of things, again, future-proofing it, using their system on a chip has the ability to do something called upscaling. So even if we're currently making content in full HD, it'll upscale it so it'll look as sharp as it possibly can, and better than full HD, while we transition through to actually making ultra high definition content. So it's nice to know that when we're buying the screens today, they will last a long time, and they are future proof for when that next change in content comes in, especially on some of those bigger screens. The amount of content and crisp imagery that can be displayed in that 4 and 8K really is something to behold. This is just a quick slide, just showcasing there on the left-hand side, the difference between a conventional digital signage installation, against the Samsung one, and just how easy it is. Less common points of failure as well, because we don't have cables going to media players which need updated, or messaging popping around the screen saying they need to be restarted. Basically, all we have, the only point of failure is the power. So again, it makes it nice and easy. Some of the other things that we can do with the back end is, if you're doing installs, you can set them up into groups. So depending on where they're going, you can group them all, and so you can set all that up remotely. And same with all the device settings, changing the time, the location, all the setup and the security. Now, basically, all we have to do is go on site, hang the screen, give it power, and then put it on the network, and then you can do everything else remotely. All the screens will do it for themselves automatically. So you can see the benefits and how easy it is now to actually implement and roll out digital signage. It's not as scary as it used to be. So it makes it a lot more straightforward to be able to offer this out, and at a much better price point as well. Just another snapshot there, just showing what some of the cost savings could be, and the difference mainly coming in your maintenance side. Like I say, with the Samsung side, we can do it all remotely. Cohen actually updated a whole bunch of firmware on some screens in a gym yesterday, and did it all from the comfort of his home in his dressing gown. So, historically, you would have to go on site with that. You need a ladder to get up to the high ones. You've got a USB, you've got to plug into each one, you go around. So it easily turns into a couple of hours. Whereas Cohen, at the push of a button, was able to do that yesterday, and the screens were all updated within 10 minutes. So Doesn't mean that you can't offer those service packages to your customers and that likes. It just makes your life an awful lot easier in terms of problem solving and and maintaining those screens as well. Other differences are in obviously the construction and the electricity, not having to power additional devices through there. This is just a quick snapshot of some of those smaller screens that I was talking about that we're looking at. You'll see the two on the left are what are called shelf displays. They're great for at the point of sale. They can display pricing, have the ability to to change pricing on the fly nationwide. So it's super easy rather than individual price tags. So you can also run some advertising along them. And they get a lot more attention as well. Using the sensors, it can also do things like if you were to pick up one of those shoes, the screen will then, like I said before, will change to information purely based on that shoe. So again, you're not relying on salespeople to come in and tell you what they're getting kickbacks on. You can find that information there. And on the right-hand side is, in the middle is what's called a half-cut screen. It's a 39-inch screen that's cut in half. So it's designed for, in those sorts of retailer environments as well. And the ones to the left and the right of that are the 13-inch screen that's designed for point of sale, comes in a touch and a non-touch as well. So it's these types of things where the retail experience is really changing and sort of focusing on the retail market, because there's a lot of opportunity, and it's where a lot of you guys are currently doing some business in there as well. Another big one that, a big trend and where a lot of people are going to go is in terms of in-window and outdoor signage. Now, this isn't new. Again, people have been doing it for a while. Majority of people have been doing it quite poorly. You'll see people that have put TVs in there or screens that aren't designed to be in that sort of heat. They get black patches all over them, and you can't see, or they just fail. And because they've put it in that situation, they're generally not covered by warranty because they're not fit for purpose to sit in there. So, as mentioned before, we have a range of in-window specialised screens. Super bright at 4,000 nits. They can be seen in all brightness. All sunlight conditions, they'll scale up and down. So at night time, they'll scale down because they don't need to be as bright, and they have all the inbuilt cooling as well. So they just won't overheat. You see there, 8 out of 10 customers enter the store because of a digital sign. So again, it's things like this that, again, people are trying to pull people back into their stores, offer something different, and have that attention-grabbing ability for people that are walking past. And that sort of numbers. It's hard not to argue to say that digital signage is a well worth investment in terms of branding and using the right screens that you've got out there. The ability here, similar to others, you can change different messaging on the fly to be based down on what the weather's doing outside, what sort of stock you've got, and it's all done instantly. And at a push of a button, you can run a new promo out there without having to wait or create the static posters, and gives a good point of difference in there as well. It's great for branding, and again, I struggle to see why people would use a screen that's not fit for purpose in there. It is the first thing that people see, either when they're walking past or coming into your store. So it's important to make sure you've got the right screen in there, and that the right messaging and the right impression is being portrayed to the potential customers as well. So, there are lots of different options on there now, 46, 55, 75 and 85. And again, the pricing's come down on the majority of hardware. So these are now a much more, cost-effective solution for retailers to invest into and put in their windows. And it also allows them basically to, have customers interacting and seeing promotions and specials and information 24 hours a day, as it doesn't shut down. Talking about in-window, I know it's a busy slide, but these are some photos that have been in the news in the last sort of couple of weeks. Now, obviously, this COVID-19 caught us all a bit on the hop, and again, with it changing so fast, the amount of information that we've had to try to take in, the amount of information that's needed to be tried to be portrayed. As you'll see from some of these photos, there's an awful lot. And I mean, if you have a look at some of them, you know, the one here with the stop, we've got a whiteboard out there. Well, that's good. It's not really dynamic. You know, people probably aren't going to, you know, take too much notice of it. Well, it's slightly easier to change than some of these other posters. You know, again, there's a whole bunch of text on there. I mean, you know, we could be using videos or video and text to portray a message. Yeah, look at the Kiwi and Bank one there. You know, they've got a board out there, but they still have to have the requirement of a staff member out there trying to explain everything because people can't get the information that they need to know off a single whiteboard like that. Same to the one on the right there. We've got 4 pharmacy people out there putting themselves in danger. You know, some cones, some stop signs, and I mean, you count how many different signs there are there with information, you know, around what's wanted, what's needed, and what's required. You know, and again, you know, as a consumer, it's very hard to take that information in and actually be willing to learn it, you know, and to take notice of it without having to have those staff out there. The one above that, you know, we've got a pandemic there. They're trying to get a message across about people coming in, yet the big brand sales are the most dominant one up there. Now with digital, they could still promote their sale, but they could also promote, you know, what's required. And, you know, some policies around COVID and safety on the screen as well. You see the pack and save one down there in the corner. You know, there's a lot of text on there. We're actually doing some work in this field to be able to bring in digital signage screens in that window so that it can be seen, to portray that message in a much more desirable form. And one that people will take sense of. It's a great solution what they're bringing in there at Texter Park, and again, digital is going to work with that to make things easier. And the potential with, you know, the artificial intelligence side of things as well, and where that can get to, you know, further on down the line. But yeah, it just sort of gives you an example now, and I'm sure you'll see it when you're out and about, how much information people are trying to portray to people and how little people are taking on board, because there's just so much information to try to take in, and it's changing so fast. So, you know, coming back to digital, you know, being able to change that messaging, being able to have live feeds, being able to have the news rolling along the bottom, being able to change to the news, you know, updates as that comes in at 1 o'clock, all that side of things, keeping their staff members safe. You know, it soon turns into, again, digital signage is something that, you know, can be afforded. And is very beneficial. And I think we'll see as we come out of stage 4, down to stage 3, stage 2, you know, businesses start opening, you know, there's going to be a huge demand for relevant and up-to-date information. And I think, you know, if there's one positive that comes out of COVID is that the opportunities for digital are going to be bigger than ever before. Now, we've partnered with Samsung. I'm obviously ex-Samsung, so I've got a soft spot, but, you know, outside of that, Samsung, it's been the #1 brand in digital signage for 10 years. And that's no easy feat. You know, they make all their own gear. It is good kit, and on a global level. And they're not just #1, they are #1 by huge lengths. You know, so we wanted to be able to partner with a brand to be able to offer you guys a good, reliable, well-known brand to be able to go out and offer this to the market. Ease of mind, you know, again, you know, Samsung's been around for a long time. They'll be around for a long time. They've got service centres all throughout the country, and they make all their own gear as well. So it's all tested, and so it's all, you know, top of the line stuff. And that's what we wanted to be able to offer out to you guys, is something that you can be assured with and have the confidence in selling into your customers. You know, Samsung's #6 in the best global brands, so that's all global brands. So I think Apple, McDonald's sorry, not McDonald's, Apple and Coke are above it, but McDonald's and some big hitters are behind that. So in terms of a trusted brand, again, it's something that everybody knows, and it can help that buying decision go a little bit more smoothly when, you know, you've got a brand like Samsung that we're offering out there, and everyone's, you know, either had a Samsung TV, washing machine, phone, some sort of appliance, and had a good experience with it. So it makes that a lot easier in selling in a branded product, rather than a yum char panel, as we call it, that's sort of come through and we don't know how long they're going to last, or if they're even up for the task. Again, with Samsung, we've touched on it, you know, with the smart hardware, with the system on a chip. They also have their own ecosystem, MagicInfo, which Colin's going to take us through very shortly. So it's all in-house. It's tested. It's worked. And they're one of the only brands out there that has both the hardware and the software ecosystem. So again, it's easy to sell out because it's made by Samsung for Samsung. So it makes it a nice and easy proposition to go in there rather than trying to, there's 1,000 different types of software platforms out there. But this keeps it nice and simple. And again, it's just one brand that we're working with. Touched on the range and the size of the screens, and again with the warranty and the support. They are really good. It's all done nationwide and everything like that. So rest assured that when we put these things into the market, although they have a very, very low failure rate, if one is to fail, you've got Samsung that will support it and come in and they'll do the servicing side of it for us behind the scenes. I think that's about enough of my voice. It's quite weird having a one-way conversation, but I'll pass off to Cohen now for just a quick overview on MagicInfo, and then we'll get into a demonstration of it. And after that, any questions that you may have, we'll hang around. Feel free to fire away. If you'd like to, we're going to do some other sessions where we'll deep dive into some of these. It's a huge topic. So there's so much information to try to portray out, in a short amount of time. So if you would like to know any more about, what we've discussed today or some other topics, into a bit more detail, again, let us know. More than happy to do that with you guys. So just let us know what we can do to help out with that. But yeah, over to you, Colin.
Yeah, morning all, and thanks for that, Dave. Just before you jump off the mic, I'm just going to bring up a good question. Does the screen need to be installed by an authorized installer to hold the 3-year warranty you mentioned?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's a 3-year warranty. I mean, if it falls off the wall, it's probably not going to be covered by warranty. So, but there's no, and that's the beauty of it now, is that the install's so much easier than what it used to be that, we can do that. It's an offering that, you guys can offer out to the market because it's so much simpler than what it ever used to be. So, no, there's no requirement for anything like that. So, no, you can get out there and install it if you're capable and happy to do it. We have install guides as well. If you're going to recess it into a wall, make it flush, if they're going to be mounted outside or anything like that, we've got all the install guides that we can share with you guys in terms of, ventilation, orientation and all that side of things. So again, we're here to help. So if it is an install that might be going in a slightly different manner, let us know and we can help you out and say this will work, or this is what we need to do, or this is what we need to provision for. Obviously, the sooner we can do that, if it's going into a new build, the better, so that we can make sure everything's put in before we go and do the install.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll jump on. Yeah, I don't have as much experience in digital signage as Dave, but I do have a lot of experience in IT, technical support and things like that. So I'll be running you all through a quick demo of Samsung's MagicInfo. I'll give you a quick rundown on what it is. So MagicInfo is Samsung's own content management system. It allows businesses to conveniently create, schedule, and play content across their whole signage network. MagicInfo has been developed by Samsung over the last 12 years, and it began as a simple content management system, but has now been tailored to be the ideal all-in-one workflow solution for the digital signage industry. It operates on a license per device basis. Dave mentioned that as well. Every license is a lifetime license, and it's interchangeable between devices. So that means you can have one license per screen, but if you want to upgrade that screen, you can move your license you already own onto your new device. And yeah, so there'll be no monthly fees for you, but how you decide to charge out to your customers, that's up to you guys. Each license that you own comes with all of the MagicInfo web interface, which I'm about to show you guys. It comes with the ability to install your own server and have access to Samsung's installable content creation tools. They have a premium author, which is a more in-depth version of the web author, which I'll show you guys shortly. The majority of the digital signage that Samsung makes does come with system on a chip. So this is the onboard system, which basically makes the screen a computer in many ways. It being inside the screen, you don't need an external media player. You can run the screen with just one wire, just one power cable. So you can make those installs nice and pretty for your customers, and you're not going to have wires everywhere. You're not going to have more room for failure if you're running wires from a media box to a screen and installing that media box with a LAN cable or whatever that media box requires. But Samsung also do have an external media player, which means the possibilities to integrate it to screens, which could already be inside your digital network. Screens you already have are endless. You could run this Samsung MagicInfo anywhere that's necessary using that media player. It also has an excellent remote management system. This means you can control every screen in your signage network. Your screen can be off-premise, located anywhere in the world, and you can control it as if it was in your lounge and you're pointing the physical remote at it. And as Dave mentioned, you can update all your firmware and your security features remotely and change the content your screen is displaying anytime and anywhere. Yes, all in all, MagicInfo, it's a very good content management system. It is set up to manage your whole digital signage infrastructure across all your products, whether they're LED, video wall, touch, outdoor. MagicInfo is the only system you'll need, and it's perfect whether you're just starting on your digital signage journey or if you already have a well-established digital signage network. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull up my screen and I will start through the demonstration. Cool, there we go. So this is my computer. This is the main login page of the MagicInfo server. You can see up here, it's our own server, magicinfo.computaleta. I will sign in now to my account and I'll show you the overview. So when you sign in initially, you're brought to this dashboard. This just quickly brings up everything you need to know, just a quick summary of what's going on. You'll see I don't currently have any content. This is an organization that was made specifically for training purposes. So I'll start off in this content tab. So this is your hub for uploading content. And if you go in here, you can see there's many different types of content which you can upload. Just give me one moment. So you can upload normal content from your computer. I will do this now so we have some content to play with. Just pick a random array of COVID-19 digital signage templates, which we got off the web. I'll just start this upload. So while that's happening, I'll show you the other types of content which you can add to your account and send to your screen. So you can upload web content. This can pull content files directly from a URL. FTP, that's a file transfer protocol. You use that to share files from a server to your client. So you could create a folder which you can add to and you'd be able to pull it from there automatically. SIFs, that's another type of file transfer. Streaming, you can pull a live stream off of Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or any web source. And web URL, you can also use to pull a website. I will add one of these now, as I'll be using it later. Make sure I get that right. Cool. I'll add that later quickly on. So what I'm going to do is I will create a piece of dynamic content using this tool here, the Web Author. So this is almost, this is like a compiler. I'll pull it up now and I'll show you guys. So LFD, that's the typical signage content you'll use. These other two, data link content that can pull data from an Excel spreadsheet and update automatically. And video wall content that's used for our video walls. Here you have supported devices. So Samsung is now up to S7. These are just the different generations. In this server, I only have an S6 screen, so I'll go to S6 and it'll automatically include anything newer than that. So that means any content that you create will be automatically future-proofed to function on new models of Samsung digital displays that you purchase. This here, you can also go down one if you have older screens inside your network and make one piece of content that will play on any screen you have. Here you can set the resolution, custom 16:9. That will be the default resolution for most screens. You can also do a 32:9. So as you can see, that's a half cut screen there, 540 by 1920. Or you can do a custom if you've got a custom size panel. So I'll just create this here, and it automatically leads you into templates. So these are sort of like sections of a page. So it's got a whole lot of pre-laid templates here. You can pick whatever template you want, and if you drag a piece of content to it, it will adjust to that piece of the template there. Just for this demonstration, I'm just going to keep it as a blank canvas. This lets you adjust the content to be any size you want. So if you have any issues with content being out of size in the template, you can use an option like this and fill in all your spaces that you need and adjust it in just an easy, simple drag and drop situation. Content like this, you can create a QR code. You can get people to scan it with their phone, and they could be automatically redirected to any website you've set this QR code up to. And I will just make a piece of content here, which we will use later to send to our screen. So I'm just going to put a random few pictures up. It's not going to look, it might not look pretty. I'm not very creative, but I'll just show you guys how easy it is to use the software. Sorry, it's just my OCD trying to get that in the middle. Cool. So I'll chuck those two there. You've got a coronavirus COVID-19 update. You got a little be kind, stay home, save lives. Picture released by the New Zealand government. We'll chuck our QR code down the bottom here. And I can add, next I'll come down to this panel here. This is a text panel. So once again, it's simple, just drag and drop. And you can type whatever you want here. So I'll just go scan our QR code for updates. Cool, we can leave that there. And text, it's very simple. You can obviously change the font, color, size. You can add backgrounds, underline, bold, the standard functions of like a PowerPoint presentation. You can also add animations to text. So you can have it slide in, slide across the screen, any of those animations you want. The next panel here is a stickers panel. This is just very basic preset stickers. They're made by Samsung, and they're put there for like the mum and pop sort of stores, which aren't too creative, aren't too good at making their own content, those sort of things. You've just got good set stickers that give you a idea what to use. None of these would really be useful in a COVID-19 situation, but there are many situations where this would be very useful. I did see a question on high resolution images. Yes, obviously high resolution images are ideal. These don't look good in this content creator. It lowers the resolution to make it available to move them around quickly. But if I pull up here and show you guys a preview, I'll show you when we go on the screen. When you upload it to the screen, it will look clear because this is a a high resolution image. Next thing I'll do is I'll show you the shapes. It's very similar to stickers. It's just basic shapes as you see in PowerPoint, but there's a whole bunch. You can use them to do whatever you want. You can use them to make a color background for certain sections of the screen if you want, like that. And you got your fill and your line color. Once again, it's very basic, very simple content creation there. This next part here is source. This is a very, very useful feature. It lets you pull any source that's plugged into the screen directly. So if you were to have something plugged into HDMI 1, you could have it display anywhere on your content you create, and that will play as long as you've got that source plugged into HDMI 1. You can do any port that's on the screen itself, and you have options for TV and ATV antennas input as well. So HDMI, you'd use that for like your skyboxes. You could have the news running on something like this. If you had it plugged into the screen, you could have the news constantly running on this bottom corner, or if you want it, you could use it for live sport or anything, display your computer. Anything plugged into that source will show in this square when this is uploaded to your screen. I don't have anything plugged into the screen right now, so I'm just going to remove that source, but that's a very useful feature in this content creation. Next, I'll show you guys the widgets. So the widgets are preset little tools. You've got a digital and analog clock, which you can just pull out and chuck it on your screen wherever you need it. Looks like it's even got the time right automatically. And you can obviously use that for things you're displaying the time. Down here, you've got something cool, an RSS feed. So this can be used. It's supplied by many media outlets, news providers, and they provide a link which you can use to automatically pull news headlines and descriptions from. I'll add this to our content as I've got one of Stuff saved up here. So Stuff provide this, and this will update as Stuff update their RSS news channel feed. You can come in here, decide what parts of the feed you want to show. So you can just have the titles, the dates, and the descriptions. So I'll just leave the titles and the dates on for now. You can come in here, change the background of the RSS feed, and change the animation. Or you can turn the animation off, and it will just update on your refresh interval the first story in the feed. It is good to have it rolling, and you normally want to have it rolling the way you read, which is left to right. Refresh interval. So this is going to update this feed however frequently you set this here to. So we'll set it to 30 minutes. You leave it, it can update hourly, however short or long you want. That's just going to check to see if there's been any new content added to this feed from the supplier. What else you have here is you've got weather widgets. They can pull a daily, a weekly, and a different, more dynamic look. I'll pull one out to show you guys an example. So it will normally show, it will update automatically, and you can come up here to this little location, and you can type in your country and your city and update that to be accurate. You can also change the language, the unit, and the date and time format. Another thing here is you can use this widget. This puts a URL page inside your piece of content. So what you can do, you can adjust it to any size, and it will load whatever URL you put in this little section up here. And once again, you have a refresh interval for how often it refreshes the content on that page. So I'll just show our website for Computaleta because I have it saved in there. And refresh interval, we can set it to refresh every 5 minutes. So this is good content. This is a good widget, which you can pull content directly from a web page. As Dave was speaking about, a company we worked with that were working with a gym, and we created a web page for them, which automatically full screens and plays a YouTube playlist. So as they update their YouTube playlist, what is on that playlist will automatically update to the screen, and it'll add that video to the playlist. So they can have a fully live changeable playlist, which will be automatically updated on the screen using this website widget. And visual effects, these are just quick little visual effects. You can add rain, snow, wind, and sun. They're just there just to show a little bit of movement on the screen. Just a cool little feature they've added on there. And finally, the last thing is background. So this fills the background in whatever you pick. It's got a whole array of preset backgrounds. We'll just go with something black. Yeah, we'll just go with that. That'll do. So yeah, there's a whole range of backgrounds, and you can also use your uploaded content as your background as well. What I'll do here is, so this page you create is your first page. I better just make this text white so we can see it. And let's make this white as well. There we go. So down the bottom here, you can add another page, and you can see we've got the first page, the second page, and you click this little chain-looking icon for your page list. So this will determine how long each page plays for, and so you can set a sort of you can set a run in order for which how long your content will run for, and you can make that individual time for each slide. So if you would have a video in here, you could set that time to be the length of the video, so it's going to play the whole thing and then change page. For this test, I'm just going to put some full screen content on here just to show you guys. When I upload it, you'll see the screen, the pages changing on the remote control that I'll show you guys. So I'm just setting it for 10 seconds. We don't want it to play. We don't want it playing for too long. I'll just do one more, and then that will be it. We haven't got that one there. Cool. So that for now will be our content created. You can just scroll through your pages here, and I will save this to upload it to the screen. So we come here and we save this content. It's always good to name your content something relatable, something you'll be able to recognize for if you get lots of content on your server. You'll be able to search for it and find it. So I'll just save it there. Cool, saved successfully. So now you can close out of this web author, and if you give your page a refresh, go to content, you'll be able to see this screen, this content I just created here inside your content, and you can use that to be published to a screen. Another way you can use a playlist if you're using static content, just full images and things like that. I won't go into depth. It's just a simple drag and drop and select how long each image or video plays for. You can also directly add content to a playlist during your upload. I haven't created a playlist. So you can go up here, click all the content you need, and up here you can go add to playlist. So if you were to create a playlist, it would show here, and you could directly assign any content in here as much as you want and assign it to the playlist. And if that playlist is being sent to your screen, they'll update automatically as well. So I'll show you guys the schedule. A schedule is what is playing on your screen. If you create a new schedule, you'll be able to see a weekly, daily, or monthly list, and you can decide when your content plays on the screen. It will show you the time here, and you can drag it. Again, it's just drag and drop, very easy. You can just drag it and decide when you want the content to play. So if you had lots of different pieces of content, or you're running different promotions, or you had different times you needed to target different audiences, you could use this here to have content play at a certain time and keep it directed to your customers who are coming in at that time. For this webinar, we'll just click on it. We'll just set it to never expire and play for 24 hours. So when you do that, that means that this piece of content is going to play. It will keep playing until I cancel the schedule. So you can see it's added itself to every month, every day of the month, because I've set it to play every day and never expire. So if your content is dynamic and it shows everything you need it to show, you can use a system like this where you just have it play constantly, or else you can set it to certain different times like I showed. Another useful feature here is channels. So we can edit the channel or add a new channel, and you can decide what number it goes on. You can have up to 50 channels. We'll add a new channel and we'll go into it here. So this means when you change the actual channel on the screen by pointing the remote and changing the channel, or using the remote management to change the channel, you can have a whole nother schedule being played on the screen. What we'll do here is I'll just upload a full image as our content. And again, I'll just set it to never expire and play for 24 hours. So that is going to play on this channel too. Sorry, let's have a look here. We just have some hands raised. Cool, I'll just ask. Just pulling that up. Hey Blake, did you have a question you needed answered? Okay, no worries. I've allowed you guys to talk, Blake and Luke, so if you guys do have a question, just unmute yourself and you can ask it. So yeah, we got channel 1 and channel 2 here set up to play on the screen. And now we save the schedule and we can pick the group it's going to play. These are just set to default, and we can pick the screen it's going to play on. So this training display is the screen that we have turned on. You can send a schedule to a screen that's turned off, and when it turns back on for the next time, it will automatically update the schedule, and we'll save and publish that. You get a little bar down here which will show you the progress of the upload on the schedule. And as that's uploading, it's all done. Now I'll lead you over to the device. So you'll see here it automatically sends a screen capture of this screen that we are playing here. So the screen is playing the content I just sent to it. And if we click this little eye, we can get into all the device information. If I click remote control here, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up a live stream of what's playing on the screen. And here it gives you a little remote which can control the screen as if you're pointing the actual remote to it. So this, it looks a bit laggy here. It's just because it's pulling a frame per second every 0.3 seconds. So you see the website loaded here and the other pieces of content were up there. So we have the remote. If I press menu, it's going to pull up our menu. We can change everything we need in this menu system here. And you can turn the volume up, mute it, change the source, pretty everything you could do with the normal remote. If I just go here and change the channel, you'll see it flip over to network channel 2, and it's just going to play that one piece of content I put there. This is another thing that we had set up for the gym. So they've got their main content playing on their channel 1, and any screen they want to play the YouTube playlist, they switch to channel 2 and it will play the YouTube. But here, this is a perfect example for COVID. You've got your full screen COVID message here. Anytime you want to show personalized content with a bit more, I'm sorry, it looks a bit ugly. I'm not very creative, but you'll be able to see what's playing here just on this channel, which is the schedule we set. And you'll see every 10 seconds, it's going to change the page like we set it to in the content creation section. So I'll just disconnect from there. As you can see, the pictures that looked blurry in the content creator, they're very clear once they're sent to the screen. And looking at the screen in person, it's not pixelated. As you can see this image, it's perfectly clear. Disconnected from that, perfect. If we come here, we can also see what's being played. So you'll see the schedule name, the content name, and it was when it was last modified. So you'll be able to see what's on that screen being played. And you can also get to this content download. So this percentage here, if it's 100%, this means that this content here is being downloaded to the screen. It's not being pulled live it's not being pulled live from our server. The only thing being pulled live is the website widget. So the screen will need an internet connection to be able to pull that information. But if that wasn't there, everything else is completely non-reliant on network. This schedule will keep playing on the screen as long as we tell it to. Even if there's no internet connection, this content is now stored on the screen. The screens have built-in storage, so everything that you upload will get downloaded, and it will decide once it reaches full capacity what it thinks the more important content is. And if it does reach full capacity to play everything on your schedule, then you will need internet connection, but that's very rare for it to happen. We've never had it happen with any of our screens. Just a few other things, system health, if anything is logged here, you'll get an update. And it's also got something called a tag. So this is, you can add a media tag. So you could tag a screen based on its location. If you had screens in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, you could tag them Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch. And then when you're uploading content, you can tag that content as well to be Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch. And then only content which is tagged will play on the screen which the tag matches. So if you had location-specific content, you'd use the tag system that MagicInfo have in there. Also, if you go into this edit section here of the device, you can, this gets into the more nitty-gritty. You can set on-off timers of the screen. You pull the current status, that will get you the current time. You can match that as long as that's showing the screen's connected to the server and it's pulling the correct time. So on and off timers will also be saved. They're not reliant on internet connection. So a screen will turn on and off according to the time that you set here. And so a screen put off premise, you could have it turn on and off every day, depending when the store that it's installed in is operating. And you can also add holidays for when they're closed. Setup, again, it's just more nitty-gritty stuff. We can gloss over there, but it just shows you can update all your security, your setup, and your display remotely. You can fully control what's being played on the screen. You can do everything remotely. This screen here isn't connected to the same network as our server. So everything I'm showing you, this screen is technically an off-premise screen, and it connects remotely to our server, and we can control everything we need. One other cool feature here is just if you click the screen and go quick control, you get a whole bunch of controls here. Turn the screen off, turn the panel off, remote control, restart it, change the source, volume, and all those sorts of things. As you can see, the remote management is pretty extensive. There's nothing you can do, you can't do on the server, which you can do actually pointing the remote at the screen. You've got full control of everything. and you've got full control at all time on what's being played, and every screen in your network. So next I'll show you is users. So this gives you the ability to add users to your organization. Each user you add, you set them up with a unique username and user ID and email as you would a normal user creation. But here you can also select the role which this user would have inside your MagicInfo server. So you can have a content manager that would only give them the ability to upload content. So if you were having a different company create content for you, you could give them a role of content manager or even content uploader, and they would only be able to deal with content. They wouldn't be able to decide what's on the schedule or what's playing on your screens. Same goes for device manager. They'd only have access to the device panel to manage the security or any software firmware updates, things like that. So you see you have a whole range of different roles you can give different people, which will allow them to do different things inside your server. So there has been lots of thought obviously gone into this over 12 years from Samsung. It's a very extensive content management system, and it will do everything you need it to do, and it'll probably do more than you could think it ever would do. Even now, me and Dave are still learning the odd new feature about it come up. As Dave said yesterday, this week we updated the firmware on the screens at a gym. We had this is the update here, 4 screens automatically updated to the latest firmware, and we're able to do that remotely, and it doesn't stop playing the schedule the whole time. The customer will never even know you're performing a firmware update, and it ran very smoothly and perfectly. That is everything that I have for MagicInfo in terms of this web user interface. I can ask Dave to jump back on now, and also if there was any other questions, I'll just have a look. Okay, so what's the best way to proof the content back to the client if they don't have access to MagicInfo? So you can, obviously if the client can see the screen, once you've uploaded the content, you can show them that. Otherwise, you are able to download the content you've created. You can download it here. It downloads as a PDF, and you could show them a PDF of what you've created. So you could share that back to the customer, and then they'll be able to see what you've created inside this MagicInfo web author. And that would be a good proof of your content creation.
Yeah, I guess just on that as well, Jeremy. Sorry. The other option is like Cohen showed there. So because it's web-based and it's all in the cloud where it is, basically you can access what Cohen's into here, into this portal, anywhere in the world. So it can be on your phone, your tablet, you could be on the beach, wherever. Now, you've also got users that you could set up. So depending on the agreement with them, you could set them up only as a content viewer. So they wouldn't see any of the device. They couldn't change any settings on a device or anything like that. The only thing that they'd see when they logged in using their account would be the content. So there's multiple different ways, along with the ones that Cohen said as well. So there's certainly some ways that, proof of play and to get sign off beforehand using some of those different user rights as well. So it makes it nice and easy to manage. Yes, you've done that, Cohen?
Yep. I'm just looking through the chat to see if there was any questions asked in there. There was one, if there's no LAN wireless connection, can the screens be updated manually with a USB?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Absolutely. So that's another beauty of it. And if it's just been done via USB, the screens have the built-in media player. So then it's even easier. You can load your content on a USB. Now you can either leave that USB in the back of the screen, or the screens actually have 8 gig storage on it. So you could also copy the content onto the screen itself and then pull the USB stick out. And then from there, you can come through using the screen. You can create a schedule, create a playlist, create some timings. Or to make it super simple, if you create a folder on the USB drive, that's called MagicInfo Slide. Again, I don't expect you to remember that. But if you create that folder, as soon as that USB is plugged into the screen will try and look for that first. If it finds it, it'll automatically play content that's in that folder. If not, you can then schedule its content. So, you know, if you've maybe got some smaller Ma and Pa type organizations that want to go digital, that's a great way to do it. And because the benefit of that is, again, it's future-proofed. So they can run off USB, and maybe a year down the line, they might be like, hey, look, we'd like to do a little bit more functionality. We can then upgrade them onto a license, and then they can do everything that Cohen's just showed us through today. So with USB though, you can only display one bit of content at a time. So it doesn't allow you to run the web, the news feed, or a video and an image. So it's just a single piece of content at a time. You could still display 3 images and then a video, then 3 images, then a video, but just a single bit of content at a time using USB sort of thing.
And also, Elizabeth, from your question, supplying static images, the ideal size would be the pixel size of the 1080 screen, so 1080 by 1920. At the moment, this is 1080 content we're creating. So those sizes and would be the recommended sizes. The pixels per inch would be dependent on the pixels of the screen. So we can also pull that information for you as well. Dave, another question. Going back to the content, you can you add PDF files or Adobe Illustrator formatted files?
Yes, you can. So now on the PowerPoint side of things, you can. Now we're the only issue with the PowerPoint side of things are using embedded videos in a PowerPoint presentation. So they may not display if you're running a video within a PowerPoint onto here. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, there's a really wide range of file types as well. So we'll send out some information after this webinar. I'm also want to send there, we're working on some internal use pricing. So anyone that's looking to buy one internally, to do some demos, you know, trial it and be able to show your customers. We're working on some really sharp pricing for that as well. But yeah, we'll send through some of that information. But yeah, any of that stuff, yeah, always feel free to get in touch at any time.
Yeah, there is a file of a list of all the approved file types which we can send out, so that won't be a worry.
And Paul, yeah, look, some of the screens do have Bluetooth, they all have wireless, so it is something that can be done.
Cool, no worries. Any other questions before we conclude it?
Yeah, Jeremy, yep, no worries. We'll get that through. And it's certainly, look, we did one at the start with 65-inch with the, you know, we did the hosting and the license and that sort of things. And the good news from that, every single person that purchased a screen to use internally, we then took them through some training, helped them out. We're here to help out. Every single one of those people has now gone on to sell digital signage to their customer base. So there's huge benefit and investing, you know, for screens internally to allow you to do those demos. The other good thing is, you know, you can also install it into your customers and say, hey, look, why don't you try digital for a couple of weeks? I sort of look at it as the kid and the lollipop, you know, trying to get a lollipop off a kid once you've given it to them. Once they can see it, and it comes back to some of those benefits and how easy it is and how they can change content. Once you take them on that journey, when you go to get it back, you know, that's when they're like, well, how much would one of that cost me? Oh, it's actually not that expensive. And it's those sorts of things that, you know, helping people try before they buy, because it is new, and sort of people need to understand the benefits of it and everything like that. So, so yeah. We are looking to create some advertising and some marketing materials, ideally ones that we can send to you guys, and then you guys can repurpose them without our branding on it to make things easier to send this out to your customer base. So it's certainly something we're looking at. We're looking to also bring in a cool product shortly, or a good offering, a bundle offering, which will include everything you need. So it'll have a screen, it'll have a license, it'll have a bracket. So it makes it nice and easy, you know, to buy a complete bundle, and then also for you guys to offer that out. You know, it takes away all the moving parts. We'll do all the hard work. We'll do all the setup for you. So keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks as well. That we'll be offering out there along with some of that marketing. I like the word of propaganda though.
Yeah, I like that propaganda.
But hey, look, I appreciate everyone's time. I know it's something that we seem to have a bit of at the moment. And for those that just wanted an hour away from their kids, you're welcome. But we'll send out some of this follow-up information around some of these offerings, and stay in touch. If you've got any questions that you'd like to fire through to me, my email's dave.watts, W-A-T-T-S, @clgroup.co.nz. Fire anything through. There's no such thing as a silly question. So look, you know, we've been doing it for a while, got lots of installs, so we can help with some of those things and how we've done things in the past before. So do feel free to reach out. We're here to help you guys, and we want to grow this market together, and there's good opportunities in there. And I truly believe, you know, if we work together on this, we'll have some good success. So really appreciate everyone coming along and taking that time, and hope everyone's safe out there and has a good Easter and some good family time. Not that we haven't had much of that lately. So thanks everyone, really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.